This is episode number 4 with Australian and Western Australian cricketer Connor Smith. Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning into the SOTA Process podcast today. I'm your host, Tom Evans. I'm a personal development and fitness fanatic with a passion for discovering concepts and tools that help us to own our mind, body and soul, as well as the processes we can implement to make us state of the art. If you're looking to make some positive changes, find your purpose and have an impact, this is the show for you. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Now let's define our greatness. Hey legends, before we get into this week's awesome episode, I have an exclusive offer for you guys as listeners of the SOTA Process podcast. My dear friend and partner over at Fluxium have been setting the world on fire with graphic design. Now, I have a really special connection with Fluxium, guys, as he was the one that designed my epic podcast art. And it's pretty damn good, right? Like, it pops. So, if you need anything done that involves graphic design, Fluxium is the place to get it done. Whatever your needs, logos, shirts, websites, podcast art, you name it, the man can get it done for you. And right now, as listeners of this podcast, Fluxium has a very special offer for you guys. He is offering a 20% discount off your first 2 graphic design orders. Yep, that's a 20% discount off your first 2 orders from Fluxium. All you need to do is mention the word SOTA in your inquiry and the discount is yours. I'm a massive fan of Fluxium's work, guys, and I would not go anywhere else for my graphic design needs. The designs will take your breath away, so be sure to hit Fluxium up on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at Fluxium. That's Fluxiem. Again, that's Fluxiem. Or find the website at fluxium.com.au. Be sure to check it out, guys. Fluxium's work is truly state of the art. Once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will change along with it. Steve Maraboli. Welcome back to the SOTA Process podcast, everyone. Okay, so I actually have a very special episode for you guys today. This was my first episode where I actually interviewed someone and I was joined by my stepbrother, Connor Smith. This chat was great. We went deep into what it takes to succeed at the top level in sport, as well as how to lose weight and look great. I hope you enjoy this episode, guys, so let's get it underway. Okay, welcome back to the show, guys. This is my first episode where I've actually had a guest on. So, Connor, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. All right, so for those that don't know, Connor is actually my stepbrother, and I'm actually going to talk you up here if that's all right, if you don't mind.
Oh, go on. Try your best.
So, Connor is arguably one of WA's best underage cricketers, am I right?
Oh, depends who you ask.
All right, so he has represented WA at an under 15, 17 and 19 level, and also represented Australia against Pakistan in Dubai, was it?
Yeah.
All right. And last year, you were WA's leading run scorer in the under-19s?
Yep.
Awesome. So you also won second grade flag with Perth Cricket Club earlier this year, which is a pretty good achievement for the club. So let's start off with how it all began for you, Connor. So talk to me about your childhood and how you got into cricket and also how you evolved to get to where you are now.
I think it just all started with probably my dad and my brother, just in the backyard having a hit. Didn't play too much when I was younger. Just loved hitting the ball, anything with a ball and a club or a bat, hockey stick, golf club, anything like that. I just like smashing shit. So
Yeah.
really, it just all started with that. And Dad obviously found that I was decent at hitting a ball at a young age, so he just always just put something in my hand.
Yeah.
Go down, play Milo cricket with my mates. It's always just playing with my mates. It was really good.
So what about like your dad's influence, my stepdad Noel? Talk about his influence on your cricket as a junior when you were a lot younger and the influence he still has now.
I think it's just keeping it simple, really. Just back to the main points of, are you enjoying cricket? He always asks me, are you enjoying it? With whatever I decide to do, whatever I want to do. Even outside of cricket, just always ask, do you want it? Are you going to enjoy it? And go for it.
Yeah.
Give it everything.
Perfect. Love that. So how has your cricket sort of evolved to get you are to where you are now? Is it a very much a personal thing? Is it you working on your own game, or is it the coaches, or sort of how's it evolved?
I'm just a competitive beast. I just always found every time I want to do something that I'm passionate about, if I see someone better than me, I just aim for them and try and beat them. And then the next person, or anything above a level above me, I always look how they do something, how they go about it, and just try and do it.
So always trying to replicate those that are better than you, or trying to outdo them, or learn off them?
Obviously, I like to do my own thing and do what works for me, but just sort of go for what they do and learn off other people.
No, sweet. I like that. So you're obviously like a very humble person, in my opinion. So talk to me about that, because obviously it would be very, very easy to get caught up in it all and have an ego and those sorts of things and become quite arrogant. So how is it that you stay so down to earth with it all?
Oh, I don't get any pleasure or joy out of other people telling me how good you may or not be. There's nothing I get out of it, really.
So you're very much in your own head, in your own space.
I could do something, achieve something, and I could just be by myself in my car driving somewhere and just be as happy as I could be achieving it.
So that also probably flows into the negative side of things as well, with criticism and those sorts of things. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, is it? That like you don't let the good comments and the praise and everything get to your head, but then you also don't let the negative thoughts and the negative comments and the criticism get to you as well?
Yeah, I would say so. Same as I said about positive or achieving something positive, I just think about it to myself, really. Same with negative stuff, I'll go over it. Usually most of my thinking happens when I'm driving around in the car.
Right.
Yeah.
So what sort of thoughts have you ever come up with? Anything interesting in the car?
Everything, it's more just reflecting, really.
Yeah.
It's a good time for me unless I'm driving someone somewhere, it's a good time that I can spend. Not a long time, just a good 20 to 30 minutes where I can...
No, I definitely find things like that are very, very important. And like for me personally, that's me going for a run or me going to the beach and Jacob's Ladder and things like that. That's that's almost my downtime and the point where I can then reflect and refresh and that sort of thing. So driving's that for you? Would you say that's where you're...
if I'm going somewhere, I'll sit down and think about what I'm going to get out of it, what I'm doing it for, and trying just motivating myself or getting in the right mindset.
Yeah.
It could be for anything, really, anything. When I went to school, did the same thing. I had to walk to school by myself, do the same thing. What I need to do today, everything like that.
Yeah, I reckon that's something that's very, very important for people to have, is just have something where they can get away and sort of refresh on everything. And on that point, what do you actually do to get away from cricket? So what sort of helps you to break it up mentally and physically? What are your sort of passions outside that help you to just have a full refresh?
Everything. I love doing, I have a broad range of things. I like cooking, just hanging out with mates is a good one. Playing other sports as well.
Yeah.
I find playing other sports is a good way because usually when I play other sports, I'm playing it to have fun with my mates. Obviously I'm competitive and I'll still try my best, but it takes that, the edge off it, if you know what I mean. I don't care as much, so to speak. And it's good. It brings me back to why I love sport and why I love competing. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So what about, let's sort of delve into your mindset. So to me, you actually strike me as a person who, when you're batting, there's a lot of sort of a fuck you about it per se. I guess you always look dominant and you're always in control, which I would argue is not necessarily parallel with your personality in a lot of ways. So what is your mindset really like, and what do you do to switch it on when you need to?
Switch it on when I need to. I like to fuel myself with emotion. Some people say when you're batting or when you're doing whatever in sport, have a clear mind, but I find that impossible. I feel like I'm always thinking.
Yeah.
And I try and just, use past moments or what just happened to fuel. Well, I obviously get very emotional when I play. I get very angry, that fuck you type of attitude, and that really fuels my focus. And just mentally, I feel so alert. I feel very switched on, present. I'm very present when I'm, I don't know, angry, emotional, fuck you attitude.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. It's something that I've been trying to work out myself, because I find when there's games or situations, any sports where it's whatever, not as much pressure on. I can't replicate the same sort of feeling and mental state of mind.
Okay, so what do you sort of do to get into that emotional state?
Sometimes it's come from just present things, getting sledged, getting told, for some reason, having negative comments towards me always fuels me. It always makes me want to prove a point, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Is that, I don't know, I've just been in mindsets where I've woken up and gone, yeah, today's my day, I'm making 100. And to be honest, I reckon I've called two, possibly 300s. I've woken up and gone, I'm making 100 today. Or if not, sorry, I take one of them was an 87 that I made. Yeah. And I thought, today's the day. And I've just gone, I'm just in the zone. I don't know why.
So can you, if you're ever out of the zone, have you ever been able to put yourself back in it?
I've tried. That's the thing I'm trying to
That's the next step.
on. Yeah.
Okay.
It's I don't know. Yeah, I can't really say much, because I really try my best. I try my best to psych myself up. And the worst is I know when I'm not in it.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, and I'm going shit, and I start stressing because I know I need to get in this mindset.
Yeah, I definitely feel that as well. Yeah. So, how do you cope with setback?
Cope with it? Oh, obviously, a short-term thing is I'm very sensitive person, so I do take a lot to heart. I do absorb a lot.
Yeah.
And after I get over that phase, which is usually pretty quickly, it's all just about improving. Well, instead of thinking, what was wrong, what do I need to do to fix it? It could be anything. I'll say if I didn't perform. A good thing is testing yourself physically, or why didn't I perform well in the gym, or why aren't I getting better at running?
So it's always sort of going back and looking for what you can improve on.
Not looking at others, always going, well, all right, this problem occurred. What do I need to do?
So controlling what you can control, basically.
Exactly.
I like that. So let's sort of take a little bit of a break from the mindset and cricket side of things. Intermittent fasting, that's something you've been doing for how long now?
It's something that I was very passionate about for probably just over a month. I did like a proper intermittent fasting period, but now I just sort of use it here and there, sort of depending on my eating or going out. Being real unhealthy periods, I like to either afterwards fast for a bit, or usually beforehand. I like to prepare my body for it.
And what sort of impact did that have on your day-to-day life?
When I was doing it every day, I loved it. I thought because I found like when I like eating little snacks each day, especially this is like school or study or whatever, when like my mind was getting switched off when I started getting hungry. I started thinking about food. I started thinking about other stuff like that. So when I wasn't eating, because my body got used to it, I wasn't thinking about food ever. So I was just so focused, and I felt very alert in the mornings.
Okay.
My eating periods were all based around 2 big meals. So cutting out breakfast, 2 big meals, and then
it was
the
16
leftover
and
calories.
8 hours?
16 and 8. Sometimes a bit more depending on what I was doing or whatever. But yeah, it was awesome. And then because I was eating so much food in that small period in the night time, I found after eating all the carbs, all the fats and everything, I would just pass out.
Yeah, right. So
so
you definitely recommend it for people to try? Because a lot of people are skeptical about these sorts of things, and I almost take you as a person who would have been pretty skeptical at first, but it's obviously paid big dividends for you. Yeah,
I think that everyone has their own way, whether it's keto or fasting or anything, but as long as you're if whatever your goal is, say if it is to lose weight, is to be in a caloric deficit, I just found it easier, so it still felt like I was like, because in that window, the 8-hour eating period, I felt like I was stuffing my face.
Yeah.
It felt like it, but I wasn't, because I was still eating in a deficit or maintenance level.
And I guess that's sort of the key to any diet is you need consistency if it's going to
Yeah.
be sustainable, and then
Yeah.
sustainability leads to
Yeah.
results, which it obviously did for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you found something that was going to work for you and stuck
Yeah.
to it. So probably a problem a lot of people have is they try things that
Yeah.
aren't sustainable
Yeah.
and they aren't going to stick to it. So then there's basically no
But
point in even
it's
doing it.
whatever works into your schedule. Like, that's the only reason I stopped doing it and only bring it in every now and
Yeah.
then, is because I thought, all right, well, if I want to train and look like an athlete, I'm going to live by one, so I need to
Yeah.
eat and feel my body. I felt like I wasn't feeling my body. I didn't have enough time if I wanted to work out in the morning and at night as well. If I wanted to work out twice a day, I felt like, because when I was doing my fasting period, I wasn't performing at my best, and I just wanted to always
Yeah.
keep performing at my best morning and night when I was working out twice a day.
Interesting. Okay, so I would say, if we're going to be honest, and I think you would probably admit this as well, 12 to 18 months ago, you probably weren't in the best shape you've ever been.
No.
You'd say a bit overweight.
Definitely.
So how have you sort of turned this around? Talk to me about your mindset around this, because it's obviously something that I guess you could say the majority of the world population struggles with, is getting their body in shape, losing weight, that sort of thing. But you've obviously done it in a relatively short space of time and with some pretty good results. So talk to me about your mindset around this and how you went about doing that.
My mindset around it. Well, it comes back probably to that fuck you sort of thing, but it was more. Oh, sorry, that was the later part of my later sort of getting into better shape. But when last year talking about, I just remember. I can't remember what it was, but for some reason I just took a picture of myself in the mirror just for some weird unknown reason. And I looked at it and I didn't like it. I was like, what? That's actually poor. So then I jumped on the scales and was like, shit, I'm 90 kilos.
Right.
And previously when I weighed myself, I was 80, low 80s, maybe 81, 82. And that wasn't that much shorter. So I must have put on so much weight so quickly. And I didn't even realize. And that was the worst thing. I was like, I just don't like what I look like. So
Yeah.
I had that memory in my head of that time when I looked at it and I didn't like it, and I just used that moment
That fueled
to
you.
fuel me.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think a lot of people, they probably have the same, they look at themselves in the mirror and go, geez, I don't like that, but then they don't take action. They almost just expect that it's going to turn around. But that's the thing that people need to do more, is just take action now in that moment and just get onto it now and just do it. And that's obviously what you did. But was it more, did you do much cardio? Was it gym work, or how did you actually...
Everything.
And diet included as well?
Everything. I used to just absolutely destroy myself.
Yeah.
Gym 5 times a week minimum, and then running at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I just decided to just go. It was probably too much at the time, but I think it was what I needed. But what you were saying before about mindset around it. So I think it's easy to think about that mindset of not liking what you look like so much, but using it as motivation in the hard times. Say as you're running, as it gets hard, doing it, not doing
the
it before.
David Goggins cookie jar.
Yeah. The cookie jar, yeah.
Pull it out when you need it. And that's good.
That's how you fuel yourself. You do it as it's getting hard.
Yeah. Okay, so before I ask my last questions, where can people find you online?
Where can they find me online? Anywhere.
If they want to chuck you a follow, where do they go?
Instagram. Don't use it much. I don't use much social media, but if they were to...
Yeah, he's pretty quiet, but if you want to see some cool pictures of, I don't know, a guy in some Australia or a WA kit.
Not much. If you want to see, not much. What is it? Don't at me, Tom. At Smithy _456.
All right, I might chuck that in the show notes below so you guys can check him out. Okay, so SOTA, the slogan for the SOTA process is define your greatness. Okay, so how do you define greatness, or what is greatness to you?
What is greatness to me? That's a good one. I reckon discipline would be up there.
Okay, interesting.
Discipline and I lost my train of thought. Discipline, definitely. Oh, that's what it was. Just not being comfortable being comfortable.
Yeah.
Challenging yourself.
I like that. That's good.
Always challenging yourself, getting out of your comfort zone, and just not being, what would you say, great at one thing, being great in all aspects.
Yeah. So all
life.
aspects of your life, trying to
as much as you can.
fulfill your potential.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great
Focusing
answer.
on your weaknesses. And as long as you're focusing on your weaknesses and just smashing them out, because like I said, that's getting you out of your comfort zone. If you're going to your weaknesses, it's more than likely it's going to be out of your comfort zone, and just always going for that.
Awesome.
Always going for that.
Love it, man. So, lastly, I picked you as a person I'd like to have on the show because I believe you are state of the art. So, what about you makes you state of the art, and why is being state of the art important?
What was the first one, sorry?
So, what makes you state of the art, in your opinion?
State of the art?
You can be as arrogant and as cocky as you want.
What makes me state of the art?
From an outside perspective, I think it's very much mindset related. Your determination, work ethic, those sorts
definitely.
of things.
I'm just trying to think of the right words. Didn't think you were going to ask this. What makes...
So yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm trying to think.
So what makes you state of the art?
What makes me state of the art? I didn't think I was state of the art, Tom. To be fair, I would say, mindset is a big one, but I feel like I'm very in tune with my mind, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think about my thoughts, so to speak.
Yeah, I totally get that.
I
100%.
analyse my own thoughts, sort of.
So you're always in control no matter what the situation is?
Not always in control, but improving.
Okay. I like that. And then, so why is being state of the art important? Why should everyone strive to be state of the art?
Well, another thing that motivated me is, while you're young, or even if you're not young, why wouldn't you try and be the best you can while you can?
Yeah.
There's no point not finding out how far you can actually go with yourself.
Love it.
I would hate to pass away or get old and think, shit, I could have done this, should have, would have been better, or at least tried to be better.
Love it, man. Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Connor.
No worries, mate.
All right. Thank you, bro. Okay, guys, so that wraps up my first interview episode with Connor Smith. So I guess some of the biggest takeaways for me, firstly, was how Connor actually uses his past moments to fuel his future. This is something that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and David Goggins utilise to achieve their greatness as well. They constantly keep their back against the wall, keep their back against their past, forcing them to move one way, forward. Connor delves into times when he has not necessarily been happy with his health, and uses this as a constant motivation and inspiration to get stronger and consistently improve. Something else that stood out for me was the way he uses emotion to help him achieve success. Now, this is something that I guess can probably be a bit controversial at times. It's a bit of a controversial topic, as there is a pretty fine line between channeling the right and the wrong type of emotional energy, but Connor has clearly found something that works for him and stuck to it. It seems the emotions come pretty naturally to him, and he noted that his next step is probably to learn how to tap into this state when it's not necessarily there and coming easy for him. Lastly, Connor has shown how losing weight and achieving a healthier, more appealing body is easy, if you are accountable and consistent. He trained and still trains near on every day, therefore he is seeing astonishing results, and this leads into other areas of his life as well. If you want to achieve results in anything, you must be accountable, disciplined and consistent, which Connor is a perfect example of. Okay guys, thank you so much again for tuning into that episode. I hope you loved it and took some inspiration from it. And yeah, it's time to go out there, define your greatness and be state of the art. Hey legends, thank you so much for listening to that episode, and I hope you've taken some value and inspiration from it. Now, if you could just do me one small favour, I would greatly appreciate it. Please share this episode with a friend, or maybe a family member, or whoever. Let's spread the word on how you can make yourself state of the art. Also, be sure to take a screenshot of this episode and post it on your Instagram story. Don't forget to tag the SOTA process and myself. And please, if you have time, Leave me a rating on the podcast platform you use. I would really, really appreciate any type of support and feedback. Thanks, guys.